On this episode of Nugget Project, we are finally putting our new Super Shock control suspension in Nug. All right, let's get this out of the way first. Why did it take me so long to buy this control suspension? Well, we have to wind the clock back a little bit to answer that question. When I started building this car, the tender was out for the XL suspension. Basically, they put it out to a bunch of different brands, or any brand, saying send in your suspension that fits the XL, has to fit, these regs, whatever, and we will basically test them all and decide on what suspension to use as a budget setup for budget racing. Now, everyone messaged me and goes, because I put out a post, I said, what suspension should I get? Because we had four types of suspension we could use in the series as control suspension. So there was XYZ, Super Shock, MCAs, something else I can't remember. And I put out a post and I said, what should I use? And everyone's like, wait for the tender, wait for the tender. So I sat around for about a month and I messaged a few people saying, when's tender coming out? Oh, any day now. And it just wasn't happening. So I thought, you know what? I'm gonna roll the dice and pick one of those because I thought it's probably gonna be one of those. So I went with MCA. Reason being, customer service. I contacted them, they talked me through everything. They said they can make it, they had to make it, but they're like, oh, we'll have it ready for you in a week. I'm like, perfect. Rang Super Shock, didn't answer the phone. Okay, emailed them, didn't reply to an email. I'm like, okay, well, screw them. I'm not gonna give them my money. So MCA was the easy choice. And you know what? They've been fantastic, very easy to adjust. They're fantastic in the wet because when you soften them up, they get really soft and squidgy and they grip really well. They've been great in this car and I'll be sad to see them go, honestly. But this is now new control suspension. And this happened I think I had the car built for a year and 3 months when the tender finally came out. And had it on track for over a year. So if I sat around with the car on jack stands waiting for that tender to come out, I would have missed out on a whole year of enjoying the car and having fun. So I'm glad I didn't wait. Yes, I ended up choosing the wrong suspension, but I'm glad I still bit the bullet and did it. Now, after that, COVID happened. Basically, the racing clubs went, there was a supply shortage, so Super Shock couldn't, because these are all made in China. Super Shock couldn't get them made quick enough because obviously China shut down, and they couldn't get them quick enough. So only a few people got them. So basically the minds got together and went, let's let people run their old shocks a bit longer. And then that carried on for a year. So I thought, well, I'm not gonna buy shocks if I don't have to. And then the next year came around and the Victoria Championship, they basically went, look, not everyone's got their shocks. There was still a back order of shocks. So they said, let's give it another year. So this car has had the suspension for a few years now and I haven't had to use it. However, next year, it's the end of 2022 now, 2023, we have to use this suspension. So that's why I bit the bullet and I'm going with it. And it is faster. This suspension is faster. I've driven 2 cars now, the Luxe car and Aaron's car in South Australia, both with Super Shocks. Slightly different feeling, but they are quicker and it's been proven. People have gone out on track, basically tested out the old shocks, come back, bolted these straight in without any adjustment, gone out and run like a second quicker around Winton. So I think the proof's in the pudding. They are a faster shock. Having said that, with the control suspension, it wouldn't matter if it was fast or slow. If everyone's on the same shock, they're on the same shock. So I do want to talk a little bit more about this. I won't make it too much of a talky episode, but I have had a few people message me and go, you seem pretty negative about these things. Why? So I'm going to address that. But first, I think we pull one of the old shocks out of this car and we'll compare them side by side with these guys. Alrighty, so what's my problem with Super Shocks? Look, I don't have a problem with the Super Shocks. I think they're actually a pretty good shock. I think it started off my problem with the company and their customer service because I contacted them so many times asking about sort of when stock's coming in, things like that, and nothing. They wouldn't answer their phone, they wouldn't reply to emails or anything like that. Look, they had a lot of supply issues during COVID, and I get it. These are made in China, like 100%, and then they ship them over in boxes. And I get that they just couldn't get them in, but dude, just answer the phone and put me on a waiting list or something. Just go, hey, look, they're not available yet. I'll put you on a waiting list and I'll send you an email when they're ready. I'd have been happy with that, but instead they just straight up just don't reply and refuse to answer. So look, that sucked, whatever. As to the shock themselves, let's go with the good. They're faster. Straight up, everyone who's put them in has gone faster around the track. So that's cool. That's good. Everyone wants to go faster. They are, I forget what it's called. It's an inverted tube design. So similar to my sort of old motorbike where basically the majority of the weight is up top and the bottom is lighter. So the unsprung weight is better and apparently they respond a bit quicker. So that's a cool design. I like that. And they look cool. I think they're good. I like how it's all branded, XL control suspension. You know, they've put in the effort. That's really nice. Now the bad, and this is comparing them to my MCAs. One of the things, because of that inverted tube design, the actual dial adjustment is on the bottom. Now, that wouldn't be a problem except for the fact that most of the time when you need to adjust these, it's raining because you need to adjust up for changing weather conditions. With the MCA, all the adjustment is on top. So if I'm, if I need to adjust the shocks, I'm in my race suit, it's like a $2,000 race suit, I don't want to get under the car, and you literally have to get under the car to adjust them. With the MCA, I literally pop the bonnet, change the knobs, same with the back, open the tailgate, change it, done. I mean, that's because of the inverted tube design, I get it, but it's also a bit crap. The other thing, and this is probably the biggest thing that everybody's complained about, is the fact that they don't have camber washers. So if you have a look here, it's just holes. That's where you bolt it to the hub. Same on the back here, except this has like a slotted design, and that's how you adjust your camber. Problem is, there's no real way of securing that other than just cranking the bolts tight. And apparently on these rear ones, if that comes loose, you can actually, or if you hit a curb hard enough, the wheel can actually touch the suspension and damage your suspension. That seems like a mighty oversight to me. I mean, that's terrible. The MCAs have these beautiful camber washers. So when you buy them, I paid extra for this, but it is an option. So you can have them without, just like that, or you pay, I think it was a couple of $100 extra, and you get them machined out for these, and you get a full kit with these camber washers that allow you to set the camber, and it is literally set and forget. I put them on the car, set them, I think maximum we're allowed is 4 degrees off the top of my head. I set them, I checked them with my level, perfect, 4 degrees, went out, checked them, went out, checked them, and then I just stopped checking them because they do not move. They're locked. That's it. That's your camber. It's unreal. How good's that? And there's no risking of moving and damaging things. I think that's fantastic. Now, I believe there is a guy who is making camber washers for these, which would be fantastic. That'll really help. I think there's, a few of the other big hitters in the XL world are looking at making them too, and that'd be fantastic because honestly, this sucks. There is, where have I got them? Hold that thought. So there are these things as well. Let me bring them over to the camera. So these little guys here, if you can see them, they go in between the hub and the shock and stop the shock moving any further so it doesn't change the camber. So that will set you to like 4 degrees or whatever. Designed by a dude, very clever. We come back over here. However, Super Shock have said, if you use these, your warranty is void. So that sucks. So somebody's come up with a solution because they couldn't design them properly, and then they've told them if they use that solution, their warranty is void. So that sucks. Anyway, that's a big gripe, and that's not just my gripe, that is everybody's gripe. I've got a lot of friends racing on these, and they're like, that sucks. But hopefully some smart asses will come up with some good solutions to fix that. And probably the last gripe I've got with the design of them is the fact that the spring basically does all the stiffness of the car. With the MCAs, that dial adjustment on the bottom actually really stiffens or really softens up the shock. The difference between this on full hard and full soft, night and day. If you put that on full soft, it's really pliable in the wet. The car is very boaty, but it grips really well. These are fantastic in the wet. Basically that dial on the bottom just changes the rebound rate, does not change how stiff they are. They stay stiff, and from what I hear, they're not that great in the wet. I'm sure people with way more skill than me wouldn't even care and be able to drive that in the wet, no problem. For me, I did like how good they were in the wet. So, look, that's the problems I have with them. Sorry, that was a bit of a bitch and a whinge, but people ask, why have you got an issue with them? That's the problem. You know, and little things, like there's no bolts for the rear. Why? There's bolts for the, no, sorry, there's bolts for the back. There's no bolts for the front. So I guess I'll just reuse the MCA bolts. I don't know, like, I don't know the mindset behind that. Like, just give us some bolts. Just paid like $2.5 for these things. It's insanity. Anyway, so yeah, just little things like that. But at the end of the day, these mean I can go racing in 2023. They are fast, and I'm looking forward to going faster in this car. If this car handles anywhere near as well as the Luxe car or Aaron's car with these things, I'll be stoked, and I think they will. So very excited to get them in. I will miss the MCAs. They're a great bit of suspension. Some Chinese parts, but assembled up in Queensland, so it's sort of more Australian jobs, Australian company. Supershock's Australian, but all this is made in China, boxed up. This probably hasn't seen the light of day till it came to my house. So yeah, bit disappointing, but anyway, it is what it is. So now let's put these bad boys in. What I might just show you really, they're very easy to put in, but I'll just show you on the front corner here how I took this one out and how to put this one in. Honestly, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bolts. So easy. Let's go and have a look. So one last thing while I was having a rant about Supershock, one thing they did do very right is they give you this. So this is a sheet to write out all your details. So you can basically log your suspension setups and everything for when you've been to track days and when you've been to races. But also in here they have my very expensive invoice. So these are suspension setup sheets. So because they've developed these with a few of the front-running Supershock guys, they have basically gone out and they've gone, this is the right settings and this is how we set them up, and they've written it all down for us. So for a newbie like me that's not very good at suspension, this is really good. And MCA didn't do that. MCA just like, how they come out the box will be fine, but like, really are they? And then I rang Adam Macro and he just goes, no dude, do this, and we adjusted everything and the car felt great after that. So it is really nice that Supershock give you some options on how to set up the car and how to set up that suspension. So hey, big tick there for Supershock. Good work, guys. I think that's fantastic. You're going up a notch. Anyway, let's have a look at this front corner and I'll show you how the suspension goes in. Obviously, all you gurus know how to do this, but for those that are new to this, let's have a look. So popping these things in it's honestly so basic. So we've got the other one out. It is really just 3 bolts on the top. So you just got to take the nuts off, and there's just the 3 bolts. You just offer it up into the tower, making sure the top cap is the right way around. So if you have a look at the top cap here, I'm going to make sure those lines go across, and that means we can adjust our camber and whatnot. Bring that round. So put that up into there. Once you've got one done up, the rest going easy. And just get that nut done up there. Oh no, wrong one. And that's it. That's in. Now underneath, we'll have to reuse the old MCA bolts because, yep, they didn't give us any. So we've got those ones here. And we'll put them back in the way they came. So from memory, they went in this way. I'm gonna have to put the camera down here. Okay, top bolt in. Oh, they look a bit longer. Oh dear. Oh no. Because I've got the camber washers on the MCA, those bolts are too long. Why didn't you just supply bolts? God, you guys suck. All right, let me have a look through my bolt box and see what I got. Luckily, I've worked on a lot of cars in my days and I have bolt boxes where I never throw away a bolt. So these, I'm pretty sure, are out of a Subaru. And they are suspension bolts. They are exactly for this. No high tensile, so that's good. Cool. Well, I guess we'll use those then. Cool, all right, I think I'll put some washers on there, make that a bit neater. And we'll probably use those lock nuts that came with the MCAs. But yeah, that's it. 2 bolts, hang on. You can see that MCA bolt there, it was just running out of thread. Whereas these ones, out of what I'm pretty sure was my Subaru, they go through fine. A little bit of thread on the inside, but that's fine. And then we'll just use the lock nut on the outside, but that's literally it. 2 bolts there, 3 bolts there. Bob's your uncle, we have suspension. The only thing I've realized I've done is that brake line usually curls around the top there. So I might just have to pop those bolts out and curl that round, because that's much easier than taking the brake line off. Anyway, I'll do that now. We'll stick a washer and a lock nut on there, and that's it, and then we'll do the rest of the car. Alrighty, well, let's get the suspension in. We'll do it in full time-lapse fashion. We'll do the fronts and then we'll do the backs, and I might show you a little bit in the back, but it's pretty much the same thing really. Let's go. So I've just paused the time lapse there to just mention a couple of things. So I got the old shock out with its beautiful camber washers. And I did have to loosen off the sway bar to get it out. It just wouldn't. So I just undid the 12 mil nut on the bottom, loosen the sway bar, and then you can get them out. Easy. So now we'll put this one in, but yeah, you can see that slot there. So that one's a round hole, that's a slotted hole, and that allows the camber to be adjusted. And I'm pretty confident, so this guy slots in there. And that allows the, stops the camera from going AWOL. I don't know. Should I do it? Super Shock are bitching about warranty, but I haven't heard any claims about this actually damaging anything, and I'd rather that than the whole wheel jam into the shock, because that just sounds like a terrible idea. So yeah, you know what, let's do it. Until somebody comes up with a decent camber washer setup that isn't $1 million, I'm going to do this. I think that looks pretty cool. I think it fits pretty well, so we'll put that in. Hopefully that should see our camber being about 4 degrees, which I think is the max. So hell, let's put it in and give it a go. Okay, probably hard to see on camera, but I can tell what people mean about putting that shim in. Look at that. So this is supposed to tighten up to stop the camber adjusting, but there's a freaking gap there about 1.5 mil wide, so I think you just need to crank the crap out of the bolts. But why? Sorry, I'm being really negative, but this is dumb. This is dumb stuff. Okay, sweaty afternoon in the garage, but the suspension is in. Pretty easy install, as you'd expect. You know, it's only a few bolts, just a bit of fiddling. You know, you got to disconnect the sway bars to get the rear ones out. Once again, kudos to Super Shock. They have actually a really good video on their YouTube page about how to fully adjust everything on this car, and it's really good. So props to them, man. That's a really good video series. Well played. And I'll definitely be watching that for a few more tips. So if you need any help on setup on this, go there. Don't listen to me. Go listen to the experts. They know what they're doing. I really dislike this rear camber adjustment. It's crap. It's so crap. I just don't understand why they couldn't do a snail cam style, but like a snail cam or an eccentric bolt or whatever, like my Sora, like my Liberty, you know, like one of those bolts where you turn it and it adjusts the camera out. Like, it's such a simple thing to put in. I don't understand this slot that you tighten up, and this is too wide, so you got to crank. It's just really crap. Like, honestly, it's so bad. So they've got a thing on their website, on their YouTube channel, about how to adjust this up. So I won't bore you with that. I'm going to have a play with it. I did put those in purely, probably is more of a safety measure. They might sit there and rattle, but at least if I hit a bump and these come loose, it's not going to plow the tyre into my brand new 2.5 grand shock. It's going to keep them safe. So I will keep those in. The front is easy, actually. The front is really good. So let me show you that. So the only adjustment you need for the front is these. So they're just those little sliders. You just jack the car up, you put your camber gauge on there, undo these, and you slide that in and out, and that's the adjustment for the camber. It is super duper easy and well played. That's really cool. If only the back was anywhere near as logical as that. But anyway, yes, check out their website. Great videos on how to set all this up. Really well done. Good work, Super Shock. Just do better with this. So anyway, that's me done for today. Sorry for being negative, just my thoughts. I'm honest with you guys. But I know these things are faster, and I am really excited to get out on track with this car now and feel what this thing can do with this new suspension. Obviously, I've driven a couple of cars with it and it's been fantastic, and I'm really keen to drive the car that I built with this suspension, and also a bunch of these other changes, you know, less weight, and we'll get those new wheels on, all that sort of stuff. It's going to be really exciting. So I'm hoping I can get a track day. Winton's the track that I struggle with speed-wise, even though I love the track. So I'm going to try and get a day at Winton in the new year. And yeah, we'll take this car, hopefully with the old wheels and the new wheels, and do a comparison, see how the new wheels change the car, see how the suspension goes. I'm sure I'm going to have to be doing some fiddling at track, but you know, Super Shock reckon they're set up kind of at a good base level, straight out the box, so that's cool. So we'll just get this camber right eventually, and then go out and send it. So yeah, it's really cool. But we've got a few other things to do to the car too. So yeah, thanks for watching. Check back soon. I don't know if is this video going to come out before Christmas? I don't know, probably not. So anyway, hope you had a good Christmas. Happy New Year. This will come out before New Year. I don't know what's going on. Don't mind me, I'm tired. Anyway, take care, have a great Christmas, Happy New Year, and we'll see you guys in 2023 for more action, more racing. We've got some potentially big things coming. I've just sent off a form. Some of you guys will know what I'm talking about. I've sent off a application to go and do something huge. If this comes off, it will be the biggest thing we have ever done and probably will ever do in this car. And it's very exciting, but who knows? We just got to wait and see. I know, that was a terrible tease, wasn't it? But if it comes off, it's going to be so exciting. All right, guys, take care. We'll speak to you soon. You.